Wake your ass up
or take a damn nap.
And we're the three best friends that anybody could have.
It's time.
Shawn, you were twerking. That's going to happen.
Murph, don't be a dick all your life.
It's one of the more fun podcasts I've ever done.
Hey, I tell you what, if you're not talking about sports in the man cave, I better not say you not a man.
That's it.
It doesn't seem like work when you love what you do. And to have the opportunity to the first time I get to lead a program at Oklahoma, are you kidding me? It doesn't get any better than this. It really doesn't.
Coach, we loved you. Mark Rodgers, I like to call you the Bob Stoops of Oklahoma City television. Tired, and you're back in it. And you're one of your guys that you've known for a long time now. Brent Venables returns to Norman, Oklahoma. Your initial thoughts as being the Bob Stoops of local TV and Brent Venables making a return to a place that I think where Bob Stoops groomed him to be the head coach.
What's up, Shawn? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, brother.
I would say that it was really the best hire OU could make. There's a lot of stuff out there that was ridiculous and off the charts in terms of speculation on who the coach would be. But you know that. You've covered a lot of coaching searches before. But I think that the Venables is embraced by the fans. I had a guy tell me that OU is a program. It's like it's the first time that they've ever had a girlfriend that broke up with them, and they didn't know what to do for a week. They're all upset and in their feelings and all those kind of things. But I think that he is able to unite. He's very charismatic. He's going to be a good recruiter. I think that he got sprinkled some of the magic fairy dust on him when he went to Clemson and coached with Dabo Swinney. That's changed him a little bit in a way that will be good for him. And he does have a great pedigree, Shawn, with coaching at Kansas State under Bill Snyder, under Bob Stoops at Oklahoma, and then under Swinney at Clemson. And so I think that's exactly what Castiglione's looking for. Bob Stoops was the same way. He coached under Bill Snyder, then he coached under Steve Spurrier. And seeing guys at programs like that have had success and done it in different ways is a big deal. And the fact that he's an OU guy helps him, right? I mean, fans want to have that added equity of a guy that really seems like they want to be loyal and stay around. So I think that's been it's been great today for Oklahoma fans to hear Brent talk.
No, and that's really amazing to me how it all worked out, plus the last 7 days. And before I give you a little background about this guy, one of my favorite people that I've encountered when I was in that 21 years in the media, those 6 great years in Oklahoma City. I got to give a shout out to our sponsor for this episode, Farmhouse Delivery, based out of Austin, Texas. Organic produce, organic meats grown in the great state of Texas. If you go to farmhousedelivery.com, as I'm dealing with some allergies right now, load your cart up with produce, meats, meal kits, but be sure when you check out, use the promo code MANCAVE for 20% off of your initial order. And I've done it. Produce, it's phenomenal. In fact, I just took back the big box yesterday because, we're green here in Austin. We like to recycle things. But Mark Rodgers, how we crossed paths when I first started, he was kind of like a guy that showed me the ropes in Oklahoma City, the fine watering holes. The cock of the walk comes to mind. But Mark is kind of a broadcasting legend in himself. He's really highly respected, done a lot of things on the business side as well now. Our great friend Carson Cunningham stepped down, and just like Bob Stoops, he stepped down at KOCO, and just like Bob Stoops, you filled in nicely because you've been quite loyal to the industry there and KOCO. Is that a fair assessment of the situation for you?
That's incredibly disrespectful to Bob Stoops that I would be mentioned with him. No, it's been fun. I've had fun. I've been working there a little bit and probably will continue to work there for a few more weeks while they find a backup anchor. But, man, that everyday grind of staying until 11 o'clock is probably not something I'm interested in going back full time.
Mo, but you're doing a fabulous job. You're such a team player, always. On and off the field, so to speak. But you kind of alluded to it the past 7 days. It went from the skies falling, recruits, the transfer portal. I know one of which decommitted and now has committed to Texas. You've seen enough of these changes to now, you mentioned it, the Sooner Nation is riding a high. Brent Venables succeeding Lincoln Riley. Have you seen a week like this to which it felt like the lowest of lows? Like, okay, Lincoln had his reasons. We all speculated why. Maybe it was because the SEC he did not want any part of it. And I'm on that train. But now Brent Venables comes in. Before that, Stoops brings stability. And now Venables. Where do you see this program? Do you think there is going to be any issues with Venables this first off season, him coming in and leaving what was a national championship program in recent history?
It's a good question. I love what he said today at his press conference. I really think that he had all the right notes. Lincoln Riley did a fantastic job of recruiting, but he really more recruited to his brand rather than the Oklahoma brand.
Right.
And so I think that's why you saw a lot of, recruits. They're going to go where Lincoln went, or some guys want to enter the transfer portal. And so I understand that. And, he talked about finding football players today more than recruiting guys at, combines and camps and based off of metrics that are not football related, 40 times and broad jumps and all that stuff, which is important. But I think that Oklahoma, and I think probably could say the same thing about Texas, man, is that sometimes those 5-star players end up they're a little bit maybe not interested in working as hard as some of the other guys.
Right.
And then you got no toughness, no tackling. And we saw that in Austin this year. Defense
a lot
bad. Oklahoma struggled on defense and some of those fundamentals. And I expect Brent to come in as a defensive guy, and I expect him to bring toughness to practices, and we'll see a lot better tackling team because the conference has changed, Shawn. Yeah. There's some good defenses in the Big 12. For different reasons at different places, but it's just not the days of Baker Mayfield and Pat Mahomes. You got to be physical. And when they go to the SEC, they're going to need a tackle too.
I think the interior lines, and that's what kind of baffled me about Oklahoma this year. I felt like Oklahoma had one of the best defensive lines potentially in the country, and it just didn't work out that way. But you mentioned him today, and he really, I think the little bit I saw, it was Brent Venables. If anyone had seen him in past, even at Clemson, I know you have to go online to search for him at Clemson, but here's a short part, and this is toward the end of that press conference today at the Everest training facility. It kind of what you alluded to. You just feel it. He belongs, so to speak.
Current players, I know you're paying attention. Okay, what a great example. This is what it looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like. You are the example. And again, lastly, I just want to express my sincere gratitude, okay, and appreciation for being here today. But trust me, it gets better. Boomer. Boomer. Love y'all.
Hey, that mic was not ready for Venables.
His intensity. That's right. Probably the players aren't ready for that intensity yet either.
Well, the one thing that I know you pointed it out, I remember years ago jokingly, if you ever get a chance, follow Mark Rodgers at it's right there, Mark R Sports on Twitter, and you can listen to his fabulous shows. He brings a lot of nuggets of knowledge and humor and his roots to the great state of Oklahoma at WWLS, the sports animal, and you can listen to him every day. But you talked about him jokingly needing a get-back coach. We always joke about that. Between him and Bob, have you seen anyone else rival how much Brent Venables gets outside of that white area onto the field because he is that intense?
No, I think that's what the players like about him is he's very passionate. I don't know. That's going to change a little bit. He's going to hire a defensive coordinator, which I also think is a really good move, and probably be a little bit more measured when he's the head coach rather than a coordinator. But he and Mike Stoops on the same coaching staff, there was a lot of passion and fire out there.
Here's a little sample. Everybody needs a visual, especially us ADHD types. This is what we're talking about, a get-back coach, if people are not aware of what that looks like.
Always on his hip, making sure you've got to get the white clear. You got to get out of the white because that's where the officials work. They got the biggest guy on the staff.
Yeah, I was going to say they've picked a big guy.
He's the get back guy for Brent Venables.
I love that. That's good.
I love it. He gets out on the field. I don't remember Bob creeping out, but if you were to take someone that you know is on this staff who can handle a job, or would it be a Oklahoma highway patrolman, or do they even measure up to fulfill that type of responsibility?
The troopers that have been on detail in the past, they would certainly be capable of keeping Brent in place. But hey, I don't know what the staff changes are going to look like at OU and which assistants will be here and which will stay. I think one was just announced a little bit earlier today, just a few minutes ago, that Coach Kane is going to go to USC, one of the defensive guys on that staff. So and there are a lot of Oklahoma people that are in limbo right now, players and you've got Brian Odom, who played at Oklahoma a little bit. You've got DeMarco Murray, who's the running backs coach. Cale Gundy, who's a longtime assistant at Oklahoma and played quarterback here. They're kind of in limbo of, whether or not they'll have a position on staff or not. So we'll see how that works out.
Lastly, is this the new norm in the modern era of college football with name, image, likeness, the absolutely insane salaries, which are now part of the market value for this upper echelon of Power 5 coaches? Is this the new norm where we can see this? Because everyone says loyalty. I don't think loyalty is part of the picture anymore on both sides, player and coach.
It's a good question. I mean, I get Lincoln Riley's departure. I think that he might not have had the control over the football program and some of the perks that USC offered him in Norman. That Joe Castiglione was a little reluctant to give him, which I do think that, Brent Venables had to ask those questions. He knows that it's not going to be easy going into the SEC, and there are things that the administration is going to have to do to facilitate that. But now I think Lincoln Riley had job security for as long as he wanted at Oklahoma. But I do think going into a USC position where that's been down, and it's been down for a while, but the brand is still relevant. It's where he is done a great job of recruiting players and a lot of committed players to Oklahoma from Southern California, especially in that class of 2023. So it's easier to keep them home at that school. And this Clyncher, being the head coach at the University of Oklahoma in Norman is one of the in this realm. I mean, he's everything. A rock star. He's Elvis. Everywhere he goes, people are going to be always questioning him and talking to him and those kind of things. And I think Lincoln's more of an introvert. Strange as it sounds, he's going to stand out less in Los Angeles in terms of the overall spectrum of sports, where USC, it's great when they're good, but if they're just okay, then they're kind of in the background a little bit. So I get the move for him.
I do too. I do too. Now it took me 5 days to process it, and I certainly understand it. Lastly, what happened to the rumors that Drake was going to be a part of today's festivities?
Okay. Michael Jordan was also here and played golf at Oak Tree National earlier in the week. And I think that they are shooting some promos for that campaign. I just don't think that it was going to be done. Drake wasn't going to introduce Venables with with the rap. I don't know. Maybe it'd be great if he wrote a Lincoln Riley diss track, but I think that it's all part of that Jordan brand that OU has, which is pretty cool.
I love it. I love it. That all makes sense. And I think Twitter is pure entertainment when it comes to rumors in sports.
Oh, man, plenty of those.
Keyboard warriors, if you will. And one thing I know for sure, Mark Rodgers does not sit in his mom's basement tweeting at people. And that's a 100% fact. And we can tweet that out.
That's right. I'm Jackie Moon, man.
Jackie Moon. Brother, I'm going to do my best to have a reunion with you when the Sooners play Oregon down the road from us in the Alamo Bowl, because San Antonio with Mark Rodgers is perhaps don't threaten me with a good time. That's
I've had some good times there on the Riverwalk. Yes.
Riverwalk.
I haven't been in a while, so I'll look forward to that.
The plaque remains by the Marriott River Center with your name on it. 100%.
I think the best hospitality experience ever was at the Fiesta Bowl. Those people know how to throw a party.
That was phenomenal. 3 a.m. at the Camelback Inn. We cannot disclose what occurred at those media room parties, buddy. I appreciate you. I miss you, brother, and I appreciate you making time for us.
All right, go Jacks, man. My guy Kyle Keller there, man. Win some games.
He's doing phenomenal, and Coach Carthel with the football program got us back into the postseason. We just opened I don't know if this is the correct figure for basketball, $38 million practice facility just opened.
That's nice.
Stepping up for trying to be the best mid-major, maybe the next Gonzaga, but that's going to take about a decade or more to get the Lumberjacks, which has OU's number, by the way.
That's right. Oh, you don't want to Thomas Walkup. Oh, you don't want to see him.
No, not at all. Mark Rodgers for the OG Man Cave Boys, which I hope you meet at some point, that being Coach Mo, Big Mike, and Hardball Harge. And for the Oklahoma legend himself, Mark Rodgers, we are out.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up.